Hello, I'm Matt Childs. I'm a professor in the history department, and I'm going to be teaching History 110 during the winter term. So History 110 is titled Conquest, Colonization, and Captivity in the Americas. The thing I'm most excited about teaching this course during the winter term is that it's going to happen as a study abroad course in Peru, in South America. So we're going to go to Lima, the capital, Machu Picchu, which is a sacred Inca site way up in the Andes Mountains, and Cusco, which was the Incas' kind of political and administrative capital. So Peru in particular is a great place to study kind of the historical process and present-day legacies of how conquest, colonization, and captivity shaped all the Americas. So we're going to be able to study it kind of on the ground and in detail. So the course looks at conquest, colonization, and captivity. So by conquest, we routinely and usually mean the process whereby Europeans moved across the Atlantic, whether it was the British, the Spanish, the French, the Dutch, or the Portuguese, claimed new territory, and then began to colonize it, and that both conquest and colonization often involved, and almost always did, the creation of a captive labor force. So a captive labor force could be indentured servants, they could be enslaved Africans, or the enslaved indigenous population. The opportunity in Peru, not only being in Peru and at these historic sites, but Peru's history has kind of two processes of conquest and colonization and captivity. One begun by the indigenous Inca Empire. So Inca Empire was the largest indigenous empire in South America. It was centered in Peru, but stretched all the way up into Colombia and far down into Chile, all along the Andes Mountains. So as they moved along and conquered and colonized new territories, that's one way that we'll examine it. Another way is by the Spanish. The Spanish who come over in the 16th century, they found what is today the capital city of Lima in the 1530s, and then they rule over Peru through their colonial model all the way until the 1830s. And they've definitely turned the indigenous population into a captive labor force. Okay? So the course fulfills both a global historical study requirement, GHS, in the Carolina Core, and the value, social ethics, and responsibility requirement. Okay? And so Peru in particular is a great place to study this. So we will go to the 16th century Cathedral of Lima. And there we can see, what were the Spanish religious values that they kind of established, brought over, and how is that revealed in both the architecture and within the building itself. Okay. When we travel to the Inca capital of Machu Picchu, we'll be able to also examine kind of what were their values and social ethics at the sacred site that they had constructed. So we'll be able to kind of compare and contrast what were the different values, and then, through this kind of process of conquest and colonization, how they began to emerge. Okay? All right, so it's going to be a great course. I'm very excited to teach it because of all the great places we're going. So if you have any questions at all, you can just send me an email, look me up on the web, just Matt Childs, History Department, and I'll pop up pretty quickly. So if you got any questions about the course or about the trip, just let me know. Thank you.